did you hold any position in the former?
Yes. I was president in, I think, 1999 to 2001. I was president for 2 terms. But I have a favorite story that I like to tell, which I felt is a big contrast to how this new executive committee has come to take power in the last month. I came into Aware in about 1997 or 98. At the time, it was because I was interested in there were many changes in education policies during that period, and because I had 2 young children at the time, and it occurred to me all of a sudden that how is it that we have all these policy changes and nobody ever asked me, the parent, how I want my children educated. So it happened that I mentioned this in a communication with Constance Tingham at the time, and that she invited me to make a proposal to the executive committee at that time to set up a subcommittee at Aware to look at education policies. So very quickly we set up a subcommittee. We worked for a year, and we had forums, and we interviewed students, teachers, principals, educators, and we put together an education report, and it was submitted to the MOE. And in that report, we raised many of the issues that MOE have been addressing in recent years. And it was after working on this report that I decided to stand as president.
May I know your age, if you don't mind?
I'm 56. The Straits Times has been wrong. It has been quoting me as 57. I'm 56. Not that much difference, but 3 years from 60 and 4 years from 60 sounds like a big difference.
CCTV and everything will go, right? The
Sorry?
CCTV and the logs, the
Sorry?
security and
Yes.
CCTV and everything will go, and
Yeah.
be given more access to.
Yes, we will have to. Yes, we certainly will have to try and restore some of that calm that the centre it has been. It really is quite a serious matter that women who come to Aware should feel comfortable, and we will look into those things. Yes.
Madam President, I have a question. I mean, since the EXCO, what will you do if with the former group set up their own organization and challenge the new Aware? What will you all do?
I don't think we will do it. I don't think we will do anything, because it's their prerogative to set up, and it would be really very good if they did, because then there will be more voices in civil society, more exchange, more debate. I think that, I think I said this on TV once. The biggest challenge in doing work, in doing NGO work or civil society work, has been, for me at least, I don't know about other people, but it has been for me to educate myself. And I think that such things that they have raised, such things as prejudices, such things as the sort of behavior that we have grown up with, ideology that we have grown up with. These things are very hard to change. So it takes a long while. It doesn't happen that just because someone come to you today and say, actually, this is good for you, that you will straight away accept it. I mean, if it has always been against, let's just say, if it has always been against your values, or it's even out of your imagination that girls should be bald, let's say, someone comes and says, being bald is the real thing. It's not like you will take it up straight away. You will need quite a lot of time and exposure to the idea, right? And to other ideas to be able to make any change in your own mental attitude. I mean, prejudices and biases are the hardest things to learn to give up. And I think you have to learn to give up on that if you're going to do the kind of work that Aware wants to do.
Madam President, one more question. What is your biggest challenges now, since you're the newest president for Aware?
I think the biggest challenge would be to try to restore confidence within Aware itself, as well as people outside. Although we now have a lot of support, we know that we have a lot of support, but I think that there must have been some damage because of the kind of reports that have gone out there. People who have been our sponsors, people who have trusted our programs. I think that it will probably be human to start to want to think twice. So I think that we will have to do a lot of work to reassure our supporters, reassure our members, reassure our staff, and that everything is going to be not just the same, but we're going to move on. We're going to grow. This has been a tremendous growth period in the last 3 weeks.
And are there any plans? How are you going to reconcile with the members of this group who obviously have differing views from yours? How are you all planning to reconcile?
Do you mean the executive committee?
Executive committee and maybe even supporters of the former executive committee?
You mean the people who are still members of our association?
Yes, that's right. Yep.
I do not think that there is anything to reconcile because they will be members of the association. They are welcome to come to our programs, use our programs if they want to. And if they have any objections, they will raise it and we can have discussions and debates over it.
Dana,
yes?
What steps are you going to make sure that this thing doesn't happen again?
I think it's important to look at our constitution. Yes, it's important to probably put some measures in our constitution to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. I think it has been quite traumatic because I think that we have to admit that. We have to take some responsibility for what has happened, and I think that it is because we recognize that responsibility that the 160 members have requisitioned the EGM. And the responsibilities would be, I think, we inherited that constitution from many years ago, and probably in those early days life was a lot simpler, and there has never been any need to make any drastic changes. Although I have to qualify that we did have some changes put in, or we haven't put in the changes, but there was a discussion of putting in measures such as making sure that someone has been a member and has been volunteering in the subcommittees for a year at least before they can be voted into EXCO. But it was discussed, but it wasn't effected in time to have stopped this thing. But in spite of the trauma of the past weeks, in spite of the unpleasantness, it has been unpleasant. It's not pleasant to be accused of things.